Good morning, students. Today we are here to learn the comprehension passage, how we should deal with it, and how we should attempt this question in order to get full marks in your ICSE class 10th. Many of you find it very difficult that how we should go on to write the answers and what is the easy way to deal with this comprehension passage. To begin with, I will tell you that the council never gives you very difficult comprehension which you will not be able to comprehend. Comprehension passage is generally from any novel, or it can be simply a short story from some place which you have to deal with. The very first thing that you have to keep in mind is that the word comprehension indirectly means your ability to comprehend a given passage. How much is your understanding and how you're going to deal with this passage. So, for your convenience, I have taken a passage which has come for your 2019 examination, so that you can, while I am discussing this, you also get an idea of that passage. So, the very first thing that you have to do is, when you get the 15 minutes for reading the question paper, it is always suggested and it is recommended that you give a double reading to the passage at that time itself, so that you are able to create an impression of what you are going to do in the question and answer section. I will just give a quick reading to the passage, and then I will tell you how to deal with the different aspects of the questions dealing with the comprehension passage. Let's begin. He would have gone on worrying and worrying in this way if an unexpected distraction had not arrived in the form of a heavily loaded car bumping over the grassy bank, dodging between the coconut trees and raising a cloud of dust in the narrow path before it came to a standstill in front of Mon Repos, the white bungalow that stood empty most of the year. It was the De Silvas, the family that came from Bombay to spend an occasional holiday in it and bring it suddenly to life for a few days. They had brought Mon Repos a year ago from the Wakils, who had been one of the first Bombay families to build holiday cottages on the Thule beach. But they had grown too old and frail to come often, and after the house has stood empty for several years, sold it to the De Silvas, who were young and energetic and seemed heartily to enjoy life on the beach. Whenever they came, life changed for the family and the little hut too. Immediately there was a hubbub, all kinds of excitement and expectations, and of course work to be done, employment to be had, and wages. Hari, Bela and Kamal stood by their door under the frangipani tree, tense with excitement, watching and holding Pinto back as he barked at the unfamiliar sight of a car and stranger till his voice was quite hoarse. There was a commotion in the marshy creek that separated the hut from the house. 2 herons, agates, kingfishers and moorhens all flapping into the dense greenery of the pandanus, the casuarina and the bhindi trees for shelter. Do you think they have come here for good? Bela whispered. Ha! Who would live here if he had a house in Bombay? Hari scoffed. But look how much luggage they have brought. It can't be just for a few days, Bela said, and it was true that an unbelievable number of boxes and bags and baskets were being taken out of the car, out of the boot, and off the luggage carrier, so that anyone would have thought they had come to stay forever. This is the passage for all of you to do, comprehend. I hope you have got the gist because I have given one reading. But you are requested to give a double reading to the comprehension passage. Once you give a double reading to the passage, things becomes more clear to you and your understanding becomes more clear. The third thing that you are required to do after double reading is that you will be just reading the questions, what is being asked. So, the very first question that you have to deal is give the meaning of each of the following words as used in the passage. Okay, in this question, generally, a teacher or an evaluator expects you to give the very good meaning, which is very much apt for the passage, related to the passage which is asked. So your first word, and this question is of 3 marks. Okay, the very first word is distraction. Now what you are required to do is go back to the passage and see that how the word distraction has been used. So you can find that it is in the very first line. He would have gone on worrying and worrying in this way if an unexpected distraction had not arrived. Now, for distraction is not at all a difficult word. You can have so many meanings for it. A thing that prevents someone from doing something. That is the likable thing that comes in your mind. But here you have not to write a big sentence in order to give meaning. What you have to do is you have to think of a synonymous word. Now it can be disturbance if you think of, it can be distraction if you think, distraction is a word, disturbance can be the word, diversion can be the word, and anything related can be used. But which will be the most appropriate one? I think diversion will be the most appropriate word. Now the next word that you have to give the meaning is frail. Frail is a general word. We commonly use it for people who have gone weak. Okay, so easily you can write the meaning of the word frail. You can write weak. Okay, it's an easy one. The third word is commotion. We generally use this word while we are having communications. Also with our friends, commotion. Commotion again means a lot of people creating a hubbub, confusion. So I think the word hubbub will be more appropriate. Now to tell you this, for the word distraction, what we have written diversion. Then for frail we have written weak, and for commotion we have written hubbub. You can get these 3 marks easily. But one more thing which I would like to tell you in this, avoid using long phrase to give meanings, and always try to give the meanings in whatever tense the word is in. Okay, so that you don't get to lose this marks. Now moving on to the next question. We have questions divided into different marking schemes. You will find that always there is a direct question. In the question, it can be the first question, it can be the second question, it can be the third question, which is of 1 marks. That is directly lifted from the passage. Here you can directly write the answer, but while dealing with the other questions, it's always recommended that try to write in your own words as far as possible, so that the teacher understands or the evaluator understands that what you are being marked for is your comprehending ability. So the first question is here, who were the vakils. So you have a answer in the passage itself that who these vakils were. They were the people who came from, they have built Bombay people and they have come to Mont Repos and they settled there. 2-3 points from there. I will be giving you the answers. Why was the house more suited to the Silvas? We will have the answer for this. Now, what I was talking about was 1 marks question. Here they have asked who was Pinto. They have not directly in the passage mentioned that he was a dog, but it is written, if you were concentrating while I was reading, it was he barked. Okay, who barks? A dog barks. So you can simply write Pinto was a dog. The 4th question is, what effect did the noise have on the natural surrounding? Again, it will be an answer that you can write it in your own words, lifting it from the passage. Now, the 5th question is, from Hari's answer to Bela's question, what opinion does Hari have of Bombay? If you have again listened to this thing, you would have got the answer. Now I am telling you the answers one by one. Who were the vakils? The vakils have been one of the first Bombay families to build holiday cottages on the Thule beach, and the vakils had grown too old and frail to come often to visit the place Mont Repos. Because of that, the house has stood empty for several years. This will be the points for which you are going to be marked. Next question is, why was the house more suited to the Silvas? Because they were young, energetic, and they were very heartily enjoying the life on the beach. Moving on to the next question, it is, who was Pinto? I have already told you this, that Pinto was a dog and it belonged to Hari, Bela and Kamal. Even if you are not writing he belonged to Hari, Bela and Kamal, it will not lead you to lose marks. What effect did the noise have on the natural surroundings? Now, from the passage, you have to see that what happened. Okay, so I have tried to write it in this way, that the noise caused commotion, or you can even use the word hubbub in the marshy creek that separated the hut from the house. There was a lot of commotions. You can mention herons, egrets, kingfishers and moorhens all were flapping into the dense greenery of the pandanus, the casuarina and the bhindi trees for shelter. Because of the people arriving there, there was a commotion and that led the animals to find shelter, okay, in different places. Now, the last question from this part. From Hari's answer to Bela's question, what opinion does Hari have of Bombay? Let's see the answer for this. When Bela asked Hari if he thought the De Silvas had come to the village for good, Hari scoffed. Okay, his reaction was of scoffing nature. He said, who would live in a village if he had a house in Bombay? This indicated that Hari had a very nice opinion, good opinion about Bombay. He said, no, that why will people who are having a bungalow or a house in Bombay will shift to a village like this. So his opinion about Bombay was too good. Now, the question that you find very difficult to do is the last part of the question, and it carries children 8 marks. 2 marks is for your expression and the other for the points. In these questions, generally, when it is asked, it is based on the passage itself. Here we have the question that in not more than 50 words, you have to describe how the arrival of the De Silvas changed life for the family in the little hut. How the life of the people in the hut changed because of the De Silvas. In this question, there are certain things that you have to follow. The very first thing is that you have to make a grid, and that grid should be 5 into 10. Okay, always make it a habit that when you have to attempt this question, you have to make 2 grids. One is a rough grid and the other is the fair grid. In the rough grid, while you are answering the questions, you can probably write what are the points that is coming in your mind. The very first thing that you will be doing is, you have already read the passage. Read the question, see once again, and mark the points in the comprehension passage itself. Now try to frame it in a sentence so that as many points you can cover in those 50 words you are able to. After that, you will place it in the grid, rough grid. Now you will see that how you have structured your sentence. Okay, there should be no error, grammatical error while constructing the sentences as you are forming it. I'll just read it, my rough grid, what I have done. Whenever the De Silvas came, their life changed. For the family in the little hut, immediately. There was a hubbub, all kinds of excitement and expectations, and work to be done, employment to be had, and wages. Hari, Bela and Kamal stood by their door, watching tense with excitement and eagerness. This was the thing that you are required to write. Now make sure that you are writing in table and you are required to mention the words. Now to tell you, if you are mentioning 50 words, you are going to get that 2 marks which is meant for your expression. Okay, the fair grid should cover all the words properly done with full stop, commas, capital letter wherever required. There are slight changes in my fair grid. If you have observed, I have written the letters Hari, Bela and Kamal in capital, which I missed in that is the grave error that I have done in the rough grid. A little bit of changes. Many times it happens that student put 2-3 alphabets in one grid. Sorry, not alphabets, words in the same grid. It leads to error. Please don't do this. If at all you are writing a word A also, you are required to give it a separate grid. I hope it's clear to you. Again, I am reading the final answer. Whenever the De Silvas came there, life changed for the family in the little hut. Immediately there was a hubbub, all kinds of excitement and expectations, and work to be done, employment to be had, and wages. Hari, Bela and Kamal stood by their door, watching tense with excitement and eagerness. Again, you have to mention the words here. Many students ask me that, Miss, if I'm not going to make the grid, what is the problem? Am I going to lose marks? To tell you, you are not going to lose marks. But for your convenience, it is always advisable to follow the pattern of making rough and fair grid. If at all you have not done it and you are writing simply in a manner which is not too good, I would suggest that it's better to make a column and then attempt the question. And if at all you don't do it, it's not a great deal, I would say. But what happens now, sometimes it is not 50 words, sometimes it is 54, sometimes it's 56, and we tend to do mistakes. So to avoid those mistakes, it's recommended that you follow the pattern. And if in a case, if any trouble comes and you're not able to, it's not a problem. I have also written it in a simpler way for you. Here also you have to follow the rough and the fair, because you have to jot down the points and you have to frame it in your own language. So it's better to do it in a proper way. One more thing, the rough grid should be slightly crossed with a pencil after you have attempted the question. I have written the same thing in a simple without the grids, but I have not forgotten to mention that it also has 50 words. So I hope this passage is clear to you and you have understood the way how you should go about dealing with the comprehension passage. That's why I have taken a passage from the previous year's question paper so that you can easily get to have the comprehension and you can know how to do it. I would also suggest you to practice comprehension in this way. Set a time limit, read the passage twice and thrice so that you can easily able to get those marks which are awarded by the council for this comprehension passage. I hope you have understood the things clearly, and if you have any doubt, you can comment me in the comment section regarding the comprehension passage. Thank you.